So I didn't really know what to do for today's vlog. So I asked a bunch of you guys back home on Facebook. And I got a couple of ideas, and Ollie linked me to a random subject generator, and I went through some of the random subjects, and some of the personal ones were interesting but wouldn't have made much of a vlog, and some of the general ones, pretty sure the general ones were engineered to be controversial, so I'm going to avoid those. But then Dex suggested that I talk about Pokemon, and then I got a pint of coffee. So the vlog you're about to watch should be titled simply, Hyper-Caffinated Nerd Talks About Pokemon. Enjoy. Most people, when talk about Pokemon that are about my age, they tend to fall into one of three categories. Now, the first Pokemon game came out in 1996, which meant that I was 3 when that game came out. So the first category tends to be people a little bit older than me. Now, the first category is the people that played Generation 1, and that was it. You know, when they were kids, they watched the show, played Red and Blue, they caught like the first 151 Pokemon, and then they didn't want to get involved when Gen 2 came out, and I haven't involved themselves with Pokemon ever since. The second type of people are the people, again, probably about my age, maybe a little bit older, got really into the games when they were kids, and they are still really into Pokemon. You know, they have bought at least one game from every generation. They have played almost every game. You know, these are the people that have near enough caught all 718 Pokemon today. The third category of people that are around my age range were the people that didn't get into Pokemon until the later generations, say Gen 3, Gen 4, you know, somewhere around Ruby, Sapphire time. I don't really fall into any of those categories because my relationship with Pokemon has been kind of on and off ever since I was a kid. Now this, Pokemon Yellow, came out in 1998. I believe I actually got it in 1998 because I got it with my bright yellow original Game Boy Color, and I loved the game, but I was also 6 or 7, so I never finished it. And to this day, I have still not finished Pokemon Yellow. I have a save currently going on Pokemon Yellow in which I have caught 4 gym badges, and that's the furthest I've ever gotten on Yellow. And a lot of people will look at me like, how can you not have finished it? And this is my problem with Pokemon, and this is why I tend to go off it and then come back on it and then go back off it. I don't have the patience generally to keep playing Pokemon until I've beaten it. I generally get bored. Somewhere in the region of gyms 3 to 6, I'll either get bored of training up my Pokemon to beat the gym leader or trying to catch new Pokemon, and I'll just go off it. And that kind of sucks, because I do love the Pokemon games, but I've never been able to get into them. So I got Yellow, but I never got Gold or Silver, Game Boy games. I never got Ruby or Sapphire, because I didn't own a Game Boy Advance until well after Emerald had come out. And I sort of wasn't really into Pokemon as much as a kid. Which is weird, because my love for Pokemon continued far beyond my playing of Pokemon Yellow, because I got really into the Pokemon trading card game. Now, I still have all my Pokemon trading cards, and I believe somewhere in this room there are 2 decks of playable Pokemon TGC cards. I mean, for God's sakes, I have this thing spread out on my desk most days. This is an actual playmat for the original Pokemon card game. It's actually made out of cloth, it's really nice, and to this day I remember my dad giving me this, and I remember spreading it out on the kitchen table and being super excited, and it's one of my very few memories from being that young. But I love the TCG, but I just sort of disappeared from the world of Pokemon for quite a while. So we skipped Gen 2, skipped Gen 3, hit Gen 4. Diamond and Pearl come out, DS games. I was big into my DS at the time. I loved my DS. And I was a console gamer at the time. I believe this was around the time that I was proper into playing Xbox 360. At the specific time period when Diamond and Pearl came out, I was really into playing games on my DS. I believe that I'd just gotten the first DS Zelda, Phantom Hourglass, and I was like properly enjoying that. And so when Diamond and Pearl came out, I bought Diamond. I gave Pokemon another try, and I loved it. I loved the updates to it, I loved the changes, and I got really back into Pokemon. A couple months later, parents were fed up of paying for DS games because they hold their value ridiculously well. They bought me a card for my DS that allowed me to play downloaded games. So I got rid of every single DS game I had. I don't have any of my original DS games, and that kind of makes me sad. So on there, I played Diamond, I played Pearl, I played Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and then my original DS died. Now I say it died. To this day, it's sat on a shelf behind you and it still works, it still comes on, but the screen is attached by one hinge, so I refuse to use it. So I lost everything. I lost all of Pokemon, so I lost everything. And I did not play DS until the 3DS came out. 3DS comes out. I want Ocarina of Time in 3D because I am that nerd. And I get my 3DS on launch day, and then I get Ocarina of Time when it comes out, and then a while later, I decided that I want to go back to Pokemon, and I bought Pokemon Platinum, and I'm still playing through Platinum, I'm still chugging through it. I sort of went off it again for most of this year. I bought it middle of last uni year, and when my deadline started getting worse, obviously Pokemon got ditched, and I sort of didn't do anything with it all summer. And then I came back to uni, and I got proper back into it again. Then X and Y came out, and now I'm about 6 badges into Platinum, and I'm A badge into X. I've had X for 3 weeks, and I'm A badge in because I've just not made the time to play it because I've got an assignment due in 2 weeks. But I'm really glad to finally be back into Pokemon because I'm at a stage in my life now where, because I can only play it occasionally because I have to go out for uni, and I have assignments, and I just have other stuff that I want to do, that it is something that I like to occasionally just, I'll pick up, and I'll play it. And it's one of those games that's nice to be able to play as a game, but still socialise with people. You can sit there on a DS and you can still have a conversation. And I love the improvements that have been made in X and Y. I think that they're finally starting to step away from the original Pokemon and actually mix things up and change the formula, and I'm so glad about that, because yes, Pokemon works well. Yes, it's a tried and tested formula, but we are 6 generations in. We need some changes before people just get really bored of adding new Pokemon. I think that's why the fewest Pokemon that have ever been added were added in X and Y, so that more of a focus could be put on changing the gameplay. And to be honest, I think with 718 Pokemon, we've kind of got enough Pokemon at this point. And yes, the introduction of the new type in the latest generation was really interesting, and it mixed up the whole matchup so now there is no combination of things that is immune to everything, so far as I know. And I think that's good, and I think we could do with one more generation. Let's round it up to 800 Pokemon, bring in a load more of the new type, try and balance it out a bit, and then just start changing the game up more. Maybe put a more intense story into the game, because the stories tend to be pretty generic, so that we can fill out our own characters in the world. Most of your character development is non-existent. Your character is left to you and your imagination, and that's kind of good, I guess, for kids. But there's very little character involvement in the games, and I'm noticing more of it as I play through X. You tend to run into friends a lot easier, because you start off with a group of like 5 friends. I think that's interesting. You know, we need more of these character interactions. We need more to Pokemon than just catching and training Pokemon. And, you know, they've tried to introduce things like that with the whole beauty pageant thing that appeared in Platinum. And now we have Pokemon on Me, so we can feel closer to our Pokemon. And I want more like that. I want the universe to be expanded. I want there to be more. But yeah, that was a short hyper-caffeinated vlog in Caffiene. I will see you guys next week. However, the week after, I will not be here. I am hopefully, if I can organise everything, going to see my girlfriend, which may mean that I test out the camera on my phone and see if I can make a vlog from my phone. However, I have a 6-hour journey and making a vlog, and there's a well-known format in there somewhere that some of you may recognise, and I might give that a go. Comment if you think you know what idea I've had. Anyway guys, that's all for now. Those are my things on Pokemon. You may get more Pokemon things as I play the game more. However, not really playing it an awful lot right now. Big assignment due. However, really looking forward to that weekend, because I finish my assignment, I go and see my girlfriend, and the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who is, so I'm kind of excited for life. Anyway, see you next Friday, guys.